Hey everyone, and welcome to another video. So yeah, I don't have my costume or my katana with me tonight, but it's 2:15 in the morning, so in my defense, I kind of just want to film my review video. And I don't want to be too loud because everybody's asleep except for my husband, which he may actually be sleeping too. So anyways, today I'm going to be reviewing Shogun episode 3, which my sister and I just watched today. So basically, so far, I cannot tell you guys how much I'm enjoying the show. Like, it is a truly amazing show. This episode honestly didn't have anything I didn't like, and it really, felt super intense and kind of upped the stakes and everything. I still love all the history and culture, but I'm really falling in love with the characters and stuff. The main guy, I know I've been using the names of the characters, like who their inspirations are, because I couldn't remember the name, so I'm finally I think I've got it. It's Toranaga is the main guy who represents Tokugawa Ieyasu. The last episode had kind of a dramatic, an assassin attack without spoiling anything. And so this episode was kind of about the aftermath of that and then escaping Osaka. So there was a lot of action. I love that they're bringing out a lot of deception and stuff. There's an element of sneaking around and deception that creates this tense, suspenseful circumstance that also really fits in with the culture and the time period and everything. At one point they have these litters that they're using to carry people in, and I really loved the way that they looked, and they seem historically accurate to me, and they're so tiny, and I'm so fat I couldn't get in one of those. But it really brings out John Blackthorne, the main English guy, his character and how intelligent he is and strategic, and the way that he kind of helps out the circumstance. I'm trying to avoid spoilers here. So the way that he helps out the circumstance, it really also is more scenarios that bring out Toranaga's strategic mind, which he's based off of Tokugawa Ieyasu. And Ieyasu was a huge strategist. That's why he came out on top, and ended up becoming shogun and creating a shogunate dynasty that created a peace for 200 years, was because of his strategic mind and the man that he was and everything. The acting are all fantastic. I really love the main girl character too, Miyaku or Miyaki or something like that. And then, yeah, just the whole sequence of getting out there. And then there's all these political, that's honestly, as a writer, that's how you create a really good political story, is you create multiple characters and factions that are all against each other. So you have the different lords that are all against each other and all against Toranaga Ieyasu, basically, and trying to bring him down. And then you have some of those lords, I think 2 or 3 of them or 4 of them, or yeah, 3 of them are Christian. So they're kind of Christian, and then you have Ishida, and then you have Tokugawa Ieyasu. So they all have their own agendas. And then you have the Christians versus the Protestants. And then within that, you have the Japanese Christians. You have the Japanese Christians who are Catholic. You have the Portuguese Christians who are Catholic. And then you have the Protestant Englishman. And so it's just all these different factions, and it creates a lot of circumstances where there's just so much fighting and so much infighting. And there was a lot of that in this episode where you have two sides are going through this thing and they're fighting some bad guys, but then the 2 sides start fighting, and it's really politically fun to watch. I love the relationship that's kind of developing, the friendship between Blackthorne and Toranaga. They're kind of developing this friendship even though they're speaking still through a translators most of the time, which Miyaki or Miyaku, whatever her name is, the main girl, I'll show a picture here, she translates a lot. So I like the relationship between her and Blackthorne. There was a moment where her husband is fighting, and there's a very samurai-ish moment when he holds off the bad guys, and I called it, I saw it coming. It's a samurai thing, it's a Japanese thing, it's historically accurate, it's a beautiful moment. And then there was this situation with the ships as they tried to sail out and stuff. There's a lot of foul-mouthing between Blackthorne and the Catholic Portuguese ship people. And then there's this other situation where there was a tense meeting between Toranaga and the Portuguese Catholics, and so there was translating going on there. And I love every moment that they would had these important meetings where there's a lot of translations back and forth, not only is it handled in a way that it's not boring or repetitive for us to keep hearing multiple translations of the same information because you're either reading Japanese captions or you're hearing the English, but it's really captivating to watch because it creates this tension. And then early on in the show, they set up this scenario where they may not always be translated correctly, sometimes intentionally not translated correctly. And then the situation with the ships and everything, again, Blackthorn, it's showing how bold he is, how reckless he is, but how strategic and smart he is. And it just kind of still strengthening that developing friendship with Toranaga. And there's this moment at the end where he wants Blackthorn to teach him how to dive, and he's having him dive off the ship repeatedly. And I'm not quite sure if that's just a moment from the book or if there was an ulterior motive or like what was going on there. Before they finally, or Toranaga, after having him do it over and over and over again, he has him race to the shoreline and they jump in the water and they swim away to race. And it's kind of a fun friendship moment, and I love that. And I'm really, really enjoying the show. I honestly really don't have any complaints other than the foul mouthing between, especially Blackthorn sometimes has a really bad mouth and a bad temper, and him and that one Portuguese captain, sailor guy, they have this like hate relationship with each other. So when they encounter each other, they really throw these super mouthy insults to each other that are in English and do kind of fit with the time period. Like they're not modern day insult. I mean, they're still cuss words, but it kind of like they pronounce it in kind of an English, like a Londoner English kind of way that makes sense, but it's still that makes sense historically is what I was trying to say, but it's still very foul mouthing and I don't like it. But it's not enough to like knock it down a star rating. So for me, this whole episode was 5 stars. And honestly, I wish I had more to comment on, but I don't really want to spoil anything. And honestly, it is just so intriguing. Like I am obsessed with the show. I am obsessed. I'm addicted. This is my new favorite show. And it has that political intrigue from Reign, but for me, and even Game of Thrones, and it has that grit to it. But it seems to be cleaner. It's definitely cleaner than Game of Thrones for sure. And it seems to be even cleaner than Reign was. But it's feudal Japan. I mean, we're 1600s Japan. Like this is peak samurai, my favorite time period in history. I love Reign. It's the 1500s in medieval France. And I love that, but like nothing beats like medieval Japan for me. And so for me, it's like historically set in a place that I like a lot better. And so that's why for me, Shogun is becoming honestly as good for me as Reign is. I also have not read the book, so it is inspired by a book. For those of you who don't know, I'm tempted to buy the book and read it just to see, but I hear it's a very, very long book. But I'm just, so I can't really comment on if it's accurate to the book or not. But so far it seems really, really good. And I can't wait to keep watching it. And honestly, again, like I said, 5-star review, no complaints from me. But if you guys have read the book or not, let me know in the comments below what you guys think and if it's accurate to the book or not. I'm really interested to hear your guys' opinions. And if you're Japanese, how are you guys enjoying it? And if you're not Japanese and you're just watching the show, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. And in the meantime, if you liked this video, please be sure to give it a like and subscribe for more writing and reading videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And in the meantime, if you like my review of episode 3 of Shogun, then stay tuned before my review of episode 4. It'll be coming next week by the time you guys are watching this, so check that out. You don't want to miss it.